Alright guys, yo, what up? So, as I said before, I'm playing catch up in terms of a lot of things because I missed so many. Put it this way, there was so many movies. Let me just give you a list because this is right now. Let me give you a list of movies actually I saw this summer that I actually saw in theaters. Godzilla, X-Men, Edge of Tomorrow, Million Ways to Die in the West, Maleficent, Neighbors, 22nd Jump Street, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, Guardians of the Galaxies, Sin City. That's it. I did see other films, but I didn't see them in theaters. And so this video since I can't go back and review all these films, I'm going to do my top 5 best and worst summer films. And as I said in my last video, my top 10 video won't come out until the end of the year because there's still a lot more to come, and there's some big films I've been anticipating. One, and I just, like for example, I'll give you a few of them. Girl Gone. Oh my god, I can't wait for this film. David fucking Fincher is the man. Anything this man does, I am there. This is beyond one of my biggest anticipated films of the year. So I can't wait to see that in a couple weeks. Interstellar. Nolan. I'm there already. Name says it all. That trailer, I'm there. Incoherent Vice, from Paul Thomas Anderson. This guy, let me tell you something. This guy does anything involved in the 60s or does any film, especially ones in the 60s. Since I love those type of era films, I'm there. The guy's an amazing director, and it's probably going to be an Oscar-worthy film. Hunger Games, of course. But there's just a lot of others. So my top 10 list can't come out yet because there's still a lot to come. But this is going to be my top 10 worst and best films of this summer. Now, these are just films of the summer. So I've narrowed this down to 5, which unfortunately is going to be really hard because there's more than 5 good films I've seen this year that I could put on a list, and probably more than 5 bad films. But I'm going to have to narrow it down to 5 since there's not enough for the full year. Because trust me, now remember, this is only this summer, because if this was the year, let me tell you something, I've seen some really shitty films that came out before the summer. I didn't pay to see them, but woo, then those films will be making that list at the end. There's no way they can. But here we go. So, this video, let's start off with the worst films, and then we'll get to the good films. So, number 5. Now, this is a film I didn't see in theaters, which is why I waited on to do this list, because these videos, I finally got a chance to see some of these on video or download them and actually watch them. So, number 5, A Fault in Our Stars. Now, I watched this film objectively, because now, this is not to say that I hate young adult type of things. I don't. I actually like a lot of chick flicks. I'm not gonna lie. Love Actually is one of my favorite Christmas films. I like a lot. So yeah, I watched this film and I found this film boring as hell. Really boring as hell. This film is very, very cliche. Didn't really care for the problem is I've seen this type of story so many times and done. Boy meets girl, they fall in love, girls dying. These stories have been done so much, and they've been done a lot better in other films, in my personal opinion, than this. This is like the teen version, and not to say that this automatically makes the film bad, but I did not like this film. And you know what? I actually kind of wanted to like this film. I think Shirley Woodley's a good actress. I think she's an up-and-coming actress, and so it's kind of odd that the guy in this film who plays her lover played her brother in Divergence. That's kind of weird. But what the heck? I mean, hell, Elizabeth Olsen and Aaron Taylor were the husband and wife in Godzilla. They're brother and sister in Avengers, so whatever. But I couldn't get into this film. I just did not like it, and I didn't think it was good. And there's probably going to be a lot of people who will disagree with me, especially women. But you know what? We all have our personal opinions. We all have films we don't like. We all have films we like. In this one, did not like it, unfortunately. So that's gonna have to make my list at number 5, which is why it's so low. I did not like that film. It's unfortunate. Who knows? Maybe I'll try second viewing someday down the road, but it probably won't change the fact. Okay, so here we go. Number 4. Here's a film that I waited 10, actually probably more than 10 years to see this goddamn film. And it comes out, shouldn't even bothered after 10 years. And I'm talking about Sin City 2. Wow. You know, I hoped so long after. I loved the first Sin City. Let me just put that. I loved the film. I thought it was amazing. It was groundbreaking at the time. They talked for so many years about the sequel, and I was so excited for it, and I kept hoping. And then it gets delayed. The sequel's coming, and it gets delayed again. And then Robert Rodriguez makes Spy Kids, and then he does Machete. And it just started to get really annoying in terms of the point where the sequel's never going to get made. Then finally, it gets made. So naturally, I'm like, oh, I got anticipated for it because I loved the first one. When I first saw that first trailer for the second one, red flag went off. Because I did not get that feeling that I got when I saw the original Sin City teaser and trailer. They were both phenomenal. Sin City 2 is, honestly, it's a testament of when you wait too long for something, this is what can happen. And it is so unfortunate because I really wanted this film to be just as good as the first. You don't honestly know my disappointment when I saw this in theaters. I mean, the disappointment just, I can't even explain it really. I so wanted this film to be great, really badly, and I really didn't want to have to put it on a list, like a worst films list, but unfortunately, it's going on that list. And biggest thing, and one thing about that film, Jessica Alba's whole thing, Nancy, oh my God, why was it in the film? She's such a awful actress. She was the worst part of the first one. They could have easily cast somebody else to play that role, but it really pisses me off on of that film because I really wanted to love it, but unfortunately, no. So that is number 4. All right, number 3, A Million Ways Not to Be Funny in the West, or A Million Ways to Be Bored Out of Your Mind Seeing a Comedy. Which, if you go into a comedy and you're bored, there's problems. Oh my God, this film wasn't funny. Anything that was funny about this film was seen in the trailers. Simple as that. Put it this way, I laughed one time in this film. The only time I actually laughed was the Doc Brown cameo. But unfortunately, I actually saw that since I'm a big Back to the Future fan. I saw it in the trailers, but I still laughed in the movie. The problem is, I had seen there was so many advertisements, and I'd seen the Red Band trailer, and every single joke was that in this movie was put in that trailer. Literally, you didn't even have to watch the film. I had a lot of expectation for this because I really liked Ted. I thought Ted was hilarious. I had hope for Seth MacFarlane's next film. I'm not a big Family Guy guy, but I really wasn't hoping this was going to be hilarious. I was hoping that the stuff we saw in the trailer wasn't it, kind of like Ted, that there's still a lot more to come, which in Ted there was. This film, there really wasn't. This was, if you saw the trailer, like I said, you saw all the funny parts. This film was not funny. This was a shit comedy. If you want a good comedy, 22nd Jump Street and Neighbors were way better than that film, by far. Those films I laughed all the way through, but no, film not good. And that is a film I saw in theaters. So, Fault in the Stars I didn't see in theaters. I saw it on video, but that's in. So let's move on. Number 2. So now we're down to 2 and 1. 2 and 1 wasn't hard. It really was not hard. Number 2, Spider-Man. The film, yes, the film which I criticized and ridiculed in the teaser trailers, and then of course the fanboys came out and attacked me saying, oh, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. You can't just judge the film before it came out. Yeah, I can, because I saw that trailer and honestly, it looked like shit. And then I watched the film. Didn't see it in theaters. I waited to video because like I said in those reactions, I'm not paying to see that film. Simple as that. I wasn't paying to see the new Spider-Man. And I waited patiently because I wasn't in a rush to see it. Watched it about 3 days ago. And I'm vindicated. That film sucked. Not only did it suck, it's Spider-Man 3 level of sucking. Maybe even a little worse. it this way. One, don't put, once again, tossing tons of villains in your film is an awful idea because you don't get enough time to actually develop any of these characters. Everything is rushed. Rhino, which wasn't even in the film really. Oh, well, he was in the film, but unfortunately, but what you saw in the trailer, that was it. Electro was a shit-ass villain. Very shitty. And here's the big thing. Here's my biggest complaint. Whoever was in charge, non-Hans Zimmerman, not his music, but the musical keys in this film distracted me from this film so badly that it was beyond ridiculous. The scene, like, I'll give you an example. The scene where he's putting all this stuff on his walls and stuff, and they start playing this, like, pop, like, basically, honest, like, music. I'm like, what the hell is this shit? I'm like, every time those musical keys came in, it just took me straight out of the movie. Same thing with the electro music. Like, the singing and all, oh my god, it just took me out of the film. Every time that came up, I'm like, what the hell is this? Honestly, if some of those musical cues felt like it was somebody's iPod, that somebody on the set, assistant director or the director's son, he borrowed his son's iPod or daughter's iPod and said, this sounds cool, let's use this as a musical key. You use that too. What? I mean, come on. You just should have been an orchestrated track. Those musical cues took me out of the film, and it at times felt like I was watching some teen show on like CW or something. I mean, it was ridiculous. And once again, I don't, and I'm going to reframe this, and it's going to stay. I don't like Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man. He sucks as Spider-Man. I don't like him. Put it this way, this film made me hate Spider-Man. I actually didn't give a shit for Spider-Man in this film. I didn't like Peter Parker either. I can't stand this guy as Spider-Man. Now, that's not to say I don't think he's a good actor. I do. But he's not Spider-Man. If he's in any other role than this, I'm fine with it. But he's in this, and I don't like him as Spider-Man. It's never going to change. And honestly, I said this before, I have no interest in this Spider-Man franchise. Anything they do. Maybe I'll see the Venom movie, I don't know. But I'm not going to see Spider-Man 3. I have no intention of seeing Amazing Spider-Man 3. No. So, this film easily deserves a spot on the list. I had a feeling the film was going to suck, and it did. Boy, did it ever. And I'm so glad I did not pay to see that, because I came close. But I said, no, I'm not going to give it and go see this. I'm not going to give it a chance. I'll wait for video. And oh, man, am I glad I did. So here we go. Number 1. Easiest one in the list. Michael Bay. Michael Bay in your Transformers 4. The film, and no, I did not see this. Didn't contribute 1 cent to this. At all. I saw it, but I didn't pay for it. Didn't contribute anything to this. Except the 2 hours at except the nearly 3 hours of my life spent watching this film. But, Michael Bay. What is there more to say? Do you know, and let me put it this way, I didn't honestly think it was going to be worse than the third. I didn't think it was going to be good, because it looked like shit. It looked like the third. The trailer looked like every other one. But it actually was, once again, a film focused on the humans. Barely any Transformers. Dinobot's barely in the film. Mark Wahlberg, why was he in this film? I don't hate Mark Wahlberg, but why was he in this film? Another shitty model type actress. Bay's good at doing that. I diss Michael Bay on this, and I give him a lot of shit, and I hated Transformers 4, and it's the worst film of the summer, easily, in my opinion. But this is a man who does have some talent somewhere. Somewhere is the Michael Bay who directed The Rock and Bad Boys. Somewhere that Michael Bay is inside this egomaniac Michael Bay of Bayformers. Somewhere the real Michael Bay is hidden inside of this beyond. I don't know what to actually call Bay now. This man's ego has gone so far. I actually wish he never did the Transformers films, because I actually think he was a better director before he did the Transformer films. Yes, he can do action good, but he doesn't even do action that well in these films. It's just basically explosions with no context. At least he was doing action well. I went back and actually watched not that long ago Bad Boys 1. And that chase scene in that film is awesome. The camera work, the way it's done, even with the slow motion and stuff, that is such a cool scene. Where Will Smith and Martin Lawrence are chasing down the bad guys who kidnapped the girl there. I can't think of the character's name. I know the actress Téa Leoni, but that scene is just so it's really well done. It's such a really well done action scene, including the shootout at the end and the car chase. I watched that film. I'm like, this is the Michael Bay who I wish was still somewhere making films now. But the new Michael Bay has become so wrapped up in these Transformer films and his ego. These films push his ego so far. The man thinks he is the god of action or filmmaking or explosions or anything. I mean, hell, even listening to the commentary on Bad Boys. You listen to that commentary and it's actually an insightful commentary of a guy talking about how he did certain things. You go and listen to the Transformer commentary. Oh, you see that F-16? Yeah, that's real. The one in Die Hard, all those other movies, that's fake. You know why? I got the Pentagon on speed dial. I'm like, seriously, that's the Bay now. This guy, his ego is so far gone, it's ridiculous. And it's a shame, because somewhere in this Michael Bay now is the Michael Bay who directed Bad Boys, The Rock, and some good action films. Somewhere that Bay is sitting trapped inside this, I don't know, doppelganger of Michael Bay, and just maybe someday he'll come back out and we'll get a cool action film that's done well like Bay's old stuff. But I honestly don't think it's gonna happen, because I mean, he said he's not going to do Transformer 5, but he probably more than likely will, of course. But yeah, Transformers 4 wasn't really, I mean, honestly, I had no expectations. I really expected it to suck. It sucked. Simple as that. But yeah, so that is my top 5 worst films of the summer. My next video will be my top 10 best films of the summer. So I will see you guys in that video.